like you're disclaiming one thing and you're affirming another?
Ah, I am disclaiming and I am affirming. If I ask you, or you ask your friends, how many of you know when somebody says, well, who are you? Oh, yeah, well, I'm not. Well, he was doing both. In his affirmation, he's not just saying what I am not, he's also saying what he is. And that's the lesson I want you to take away. And too many of us will typically end our definitions of ourselves by simply saying what I am not. Okay, I get it. I know what you're not. Well, what are you? And that's a little bit more challenging. That's a little bit more challenging. What are you? And that, I thought, a critical piece in his legacy. I want you to take that away, please. I'm not just a negative. I am also a lot of things. That make sense? Okay. The next one I call tolerance and acceptance. I don't like the word tolerance, very frankly. Because, well, I don't want to go into the linguistics of it. Forget it. I just don't like the word tolerance. It doesn't do it. But acceptance does it for me. Okay? Don't tolerate me. Who are you? You tolerate me? Who are you? Did you get the sense that I'm talking about? Okay?
Well, there are situations where you tolerate people, but you get accepted.
Just stand up!
I could tolerate the criminal, the presence of criminal, but they don't have to accept it.
Okay? So no, I don't want to be tolerated. And that is not what I'm teaching. But I am teaching acceptance as part of the legacy that he left. And here's what he said. Don't be in a hurry to condemn because the person doesn't do what you do or think as you think. Bring it back. Here's the other one. Our people have made the mistake of confusing the methods with the objectives. As long as we agree on objectives, we should never fall out with each other just because we believe in different methods or tactics or strategy. Let's talk about that one. That has a lot of significance for us. You are MSA, right?
Yeah.
Muslim Student Association. I was told that there might be some non-Muslims here as well. Fine. Okay. So I'm talking to everybody. How many of us are guilty of that? Think. Yes?
I am.
We all are. We all are. Because it's the easiest thing in the world to do. What's wrong with you? I got it, I did it, I did it. Huh? Yeah. So quick are we to condemn. You're not doing it the way I do it. You're not thinking the way I think. And why is that critically important for us, particularly in 2016? Yes? Yes? Oh. All right. Silly. Here's what it says. Don't be in a hurry to condemn, because the person doesn't do what you do or think as you think. And the supporting other statement is, our people have made the mistake of confusing the methods with the objectives. The objective would be the goal you have in mind. The methodology would be, how do you get there? We are agreed on the goal, on where we want to go. But I'm a skier. You're a swimmer. You're a mountain climber. You've decided, I want to go mountain climbing. I want to get there by mountain climbing. You want to get there by swimming, and I want to get there by skiing. And then we start fighting with one another. What are we fighting over? The methodology. Now translate that into any aspect of your life, particularly your religious life. Yes, sir.
I sort of believe that I believe that Christians and Muslims are kind of similar, as we all believe in people. And I feel like we all believe in God. I mean, God is different. It's called different. It's the same goal, but I kind of feel like it's different methods.
But do those different methods justify our killing one another? Or do those methods justify our burning one another's houses of worship down? Do those differences in methodology, do you understand what I'm talking about?
I was just going to say that, so I think what he was trying to say is that...
No, he wasn't trying to say. What he was saying, he said it.
What he's saying is that if you look at the goal, then the goal can bring unity because we all have the same goal. However, if you look at the methodology, if you only look at that one stride of methodology, then it brings division.
All right. Now you said it very well. Do you see the lesson?
Yeah.
Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? Isn't our goal to get back to the Creator? Oh, but you pray with your hands this way, and I pray with my hands this way. So you're not doing it right. What stupidity! I bet you're surprised that Malcolm X would have left this as one of his legacies. Firebrand, white person hater, blah blah blah. And look at one of the legacies he left us. If we are agreed on the objective, that is on the goal, then why are we fighting? Deep, isn't it? Deep. Okay.
5 minutes in Q&A.
Are you kidding me? All right. Can I exercise the right of something or other? Religious commitment. It's a legacy he also left us. I am and always will be a Muslim. My religion is Islam. Those are his words. Here are some more. Our religion teaches us to be intelligent, to be peaceful, to be courteous, to obey the law, to respect everyone. Malcolm X. Oh, that we Muslims who follow were so committed to our religious teachings. To be intelligent. God gave us this to use. To be peaceful. To be courteous. To obey the law. Which law are we talking about? Don't tell me Sharia. Secular laws. Where do we live? In a secular society. And we are subject to the same laws as any other citizens of this country. All right. Barad's going to get on my case if I don't finish. Principles first. P-L-E-S. Why would I say that? Principles first, P-L-E-S. Why would I say that? Come on, folks. Where's your English? Where's your language? You know the guy who was head of your elementary school? What did you call him?
Principal.
A principal. How do you spell that? P-A-L. And I am talking about principles, P-L-E. Give me an example of a principle, P-L-E.
I am an ethical person.
Sir, I don't doubt it. But you know something, sir? I am wondering, you think they have any principles?
Yes, they do.
They do?
Yes, they do.
Oh, wow! Talk to me.
Honesty,
Honesty? What about honesty?
don't cheat, don't lie, don't steal.
Ah, any other principles?
Treat others how you want to be treated.
Treat others as you want to be treated. Any other principles? Yes?
Interpreting.
Beg your pardon?
Interpreting.
Interpreting.
No, interpreting.
Oh, integrity. Very good. Sorry, sir. Integrity. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Principles first. I am for truth, no matter who tells it. I am for justice, no matter who is it for or against. I am a human being first and foremost, and as such, I am for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole. Principles first. All right, the last one, Bara.
All right.
The last one. You have seen this picture of Malcolm X,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Usually it's presented as a negative, isn't it? Huh? Well, I'm using that picture right here. And it says, a man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. And by the way, he too was a little sexist. It was 1965, and it's the United States after all. But truth be told, any person, male or female, gender has nothing to do with it, so you're not off the hook. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And this leads me then to the last of the legacies. Know what you believe and why. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. We'd like to move on to a question and answer session. If you'd like to help yourself to refreshments over in the corner. Right here, we have a poster board that the MSA prepared last week. We stood in the campus center lobby and asked our fellow NJIT classmates what would they like to know about Malcolm X. So we have some questions prepared for you here. I guess one question is, who influenced Malcolm X to become an activist?
The circumstances of his life. His father was an activist who, if Malcolm X was born in 1925 and his father was an activist, then you can see that his father would have been an activist at a time when it was dangerous to be. And indeed, he paid the price, the ultimate price. He was killed. Now, the record does not say with absolute certainty that he was killed because of his activism, but this is what everybody believes, with good reason.
Thank you. Another question is, what else was he involved with other than the civil rights movement?
Oh! He had the kind of life I wouldn't want to see any of you experience. And when you are coming from a place where you've known only oppression, where everything around you tells you how much less you are than anybody else, then you grab onto anything that will allow you to escape that, if you will. And often, the things we grab onto are not so cool. They're often illegal. And by the way, and don't think that this ended with the time of Malcolm X. It's still going on today. Today. How many of you are reaching out for things that are illegal? Think about it. So let's not get too quick to say, oh, no, that doesn't happen with me, not in my time, oh no. I watched a very, very disturbing television broadcast last night from PBS on heroin. You should check it out. The front line. Check it out. And, you know, I know the score, folks. As I said to the gentleman, I'm 4 generations ahead of you, but I'm still part of this generation. I know the score. Okay? And I recognize the signs. And some of my students are safe enough with me to tell me the truth. So I know what's going on. But not the way to go. He went that route and was imprisoned. Got a 10-year sentence. I think he served 6. And it was in prison that he began the Enlightenment process. Clearly a brilliant man who had not gone very far formally in education. And that's why you notice one of the first things I said in his legacy that about books, remember? That's where he did it. Those 6 years of imprisonment. And his curiosity continued to his death. So yes, his life, those were the circumstances that led. So he did a lot before. He was truly a redeemed person.
Are there any questions in the audience?
Yes?
You mentioned your 4 generations. Just how old are you, Doctor?
As old as Methuselah. You know who he is, right? You read the Bible? Uh-oh, am I embarrassing folks? Look at there. Look at it. Look at you. Not a hand goes up. Oh, man, you gotta sit back and hide. Ah. Okay. It is one of our lost books, okay? I, sir, finished 92 years of living on Christmas Day.
I have a
Right.
question for you about the life you lived and how it evolved. In terms of things that we don't mention, we take for granted, but they are the worst.
Invite me and I'll be happy to do that another time.
I'm talking about the materialistic life. It has taken over our lives. We can talk about principles, we can talk about religion, but ultimately, in the end, we are all slaves to materialistic life, to a bank, to whatever. So,
Okay.
what's the difference between talk and
And action.
and also Malcolm X between how
And invite me back and we'll talk about that.
a peaceful person that is one of the few. How many people have been peaceful revolutionaries? Does that mean that it's
The two words are inconsistent with one another.
but they happen to be?
Yeah, there's no such thing as a peaceful revolution. People who have power do not give it up simply because you need some power.
But Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela preached that kind of
Oh yes, methodology.
yes.
Methodology again. But I don't want to get, this young lady she prepared very well. I want to honor her preparation. Please go on.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes.
I have a comment. I came late. I don't know. You probably have touched upon it. You know, his older sister, Malcolm X, his older sister is the one who gets the credit for taking him out from the bad jail to a better jail, where he had access to the books, which made his whole career.
That's not entirely true. And I urge you to read his autobiography.
I did. That's what I read.
This, I understand. And look, but you know, here. I use this expression often when I am discussing issues, particularly issues where one wants to show I have the truth and you don't, or I have the reality and you don't, or I have the real story and you don't. I call that talking about how many angels dance on the head of a pin. Because finally, it's really not that important. Who did it? Not really the important issue. She had a hand in it, but she was not alone by a long shot. Not alone, not at all. There was a gentleman in the prison who was very, very influential in his life as well. And if you see the Spike Lee movie, and perhaps since the interest, you may want to get it here and show it. 1992, very good movie. And pretty accurate. Okay?
Another question on the board here is, how did his family feel about his role as a public figure?
Mixed feelings. Mixed, of course. But then, which member of the family who chooses to act independently doesn't in fact generate the anxiety, the resentment, the worry of the other members of the family?
Another question, did he believe in women's equality? You mentioned he had a bit sexist views before. Did he believe in women's equality?
I don't think he was any more sexist than the people of his time. That's really what I'm saying. And when you talk about, you know, the use of the English pronoun he, and then you try to tell me, well, I mean he and she. Well, so if you mean he and she, why are you using he? Those kinds of things. But, you know, it's, truth be told, Janan, right?
Yes.
Truth be told, Janan, Do you know who often get in the way of real equality between the genders? Women.
Yes, ask the old people they know.
Okay? But, you know, I have a very updated view on all of this, so I don't need to go into it now, but yes. Okay. Any other questions, please?
I'm not sure if everyone in the audience is aware, but Dr. Ibrahim has personally met Malcolm X. I think something we'd all like to know is, how did you meet him?
You know, I'm trying to think. In Harlem. He, you know, 125th Street, and it was a regular thing. Every Sunday, every weekend, you'd find him out there. By the way, have you ever listened to the man talk? Have you ever heard any clips of the man speaking?
Yes.
He's a brilliant speaker. Brilliant. Fluent. And he did not have a college education. But he was certainly educated. How is your language? Could you, for example, do what I just did here today? Here, Mike. You have the ability. Oh, you have the ability. But you know what you're missing? The habits. You have the ability. Any other question, please?
Any other questions from the audience?
Yes?
I also heard you met Dr. King.
Yeah, I did, at Harvard. Yeah, I met him at Harvard. He came to the campus, and I was surprised at how short he was. He was only 5'7". Yeah, but such a giant, yes. Very gentle man, yes.
On the same point, I can see that Malcolm X is a man that has temper, but did you ever see Dr. King lose temper?
I never saw it, but he did. Oh yes. People around him, people who knew him well, attest to that. And why is it surprising? He's a man. Ah, yes. But we all have a public persona and a private one, don't we? We do. He's no different. He was no different. But he was a man who knew what he wanted. He knew what he believed and why he believed it. And if there is one message I'm leaving with you tonight, it will be this. Know what you believe and why you believe it. Because otherwise, you're like a blade of grass. Wherever the wind blows, you go. Wherever the wind blows, you go. How many young men and young women, fewer in number, get sucked into a philosophy simply because they don't know what they believe? So that's my message.
Any other questions from the audience?
Sir?
I just have a comment.
Yes.
I'm a professor here in the humanities department.
Yes.
And some of these students don't realize how close Malcolm X got to this campus, because where your honors college is, it's been long since torn down, but there was a street there that the playwright and activist Amiri Baraka,
yes.
both Dr. King and Malcolm X both visited him here, basically where your honors college is. And the assassins of Malcolm X derived from James Street, which is just down Martin Luther King Boulevard. So you were close to the legacy of Malcolm X. It's not like an abstract historical person. He was right near your campus.
Do you know something, sir? I'm so glad I was prepared. See? I'm a professor.
Oh, only because I'm seeking knowledge. I'm only a professor because I'm seeking knowledge. I don't have the answers. I just have questions.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you and welcome. Certainly. Certainly. Absolutely. All right, folks. Nice to chat with all of you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, of course.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim. Now we have a little activity for you guys to do. There's a paper in the middle of all the tables, and at the top it says, can you list the events listed below in sequence? So there's here a list of several events.